Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2022, and today I want to talk to you all about the benefits of separate togetherness. What exactly is separate togetherness? Well, within the context of relationships, separate togetherness is when you are in a relationship with someone and yet you have your own lives. You have your own distinct journeys, you have your own experiences that you use as a tool to build the relationship. Now, you have to be very careful when using this term with people who are prone to infidelity, because they'll see it as an opportunity to go out there and just start new lives independent of their relationship. And that's not what I'm talking about. I want to make that very clear. I'm not saying go out there and have a separate life or a secret identity or a secret family outside of your relationship. This concept of separate togetherness is intended to actually build your relationship with your partner. It does not mean that you're going out there having extramarital affairs or going behind their back and sleeping with other people or engaging in emotional infidelity as well. That's not the intention. What the intention means for me is trying to get a host of different experiences that you can bring back to the relationship in order to keep the relationship vibrant and alive and fresh. That is the idea of separate togetherness. So, once again, what is separate togetherness? Is basically trying to weave your distinct experiences into a loving, nurturing relationship. I think it's so important that people adopt this concept within their relationships, because too many times people make one person their everything. And that right there is a mistake. You cannot make one person your everything, especially in this world. I think that it's important to have outside interests, hobbies, and activities that you engage in personally that feed and nurture your own soul, so that way you can actually have something to bring to the relationship. You know, too many times people make their partners their everything. You know, they become like doting lovers, just waiting at home for their partners to fill them up and give them a purpose. You should never let your partner be your purpose. I'll say that again. You should never let your partner be your purpose. They are meant to enhance your individual life and vice versa. You are meant to enhance their lives. You're not meant to be their be-all to end-all. No. This concept that I introduce on separate togetherness requires you to actually build upon your relationship by having your own friends, your own experiences, and then coming to the table full, so that way you have something to share with your partner. As I mentioned earlier, too many people rely on their partners for their lives. And I think that's what's causing the divorce rate to rise, if you want to know the truth. I think between not recognizing the need for balance in relationships, I think between the need, or not even the need, but just having unrealistic expectations of marriage and partnership in general, I think that's what's really creating a divide and just making one person your all. You know, that to me is really dangerous. You know, I think people stop really checking in with themselves once they become partnered. They really stop checking in with their own needs. They stop realizing what makes them joyful and what makes them happy. And that disconnection right there is what results in a breakdown and a dissatisfaction within their partnerships. You know, the disconnection of self. So, in layman's terms, the more disconnected you are with yourself, the more dissatisfied you're going to be in your relationships with other people. So the reality, if you want to have a satisfied or satisfying relationship, it's really, really crucial that you connect with yourself. Self is always at the center. Because I've noticed that, even in general, even with other people, they're very unhappy because they don't really have a relationship with themselves. So this is what I mean when I say separate togetherness. When you are separate and away from your partner, you're using that moment to connect with yourself, to really find out what brings you joy, what brings you that sense of purpose. You are having your own friendships, having novel experiences, and you are coming back at the end of the day to your partner and you're sharing that with enthusiasm and a renewed sense of self. And it's like your partner is meeting you all over again, but in a good way. Like you're familiar, but at the same time you're new. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, if you want to know the truth. You know, this concept that I introduce of separate togetherness is so crucial for the maintenance of relationships. You know, I love love. I love love. I love how it inspires people, how it rejuvenates people, how it makes them feel alive. And I think that it's important to kind of flesh out and identify what are the threats and the barriers to keeping the love alive. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the barriers is just these unrealistic expectations, thinking that one person is going to be your everything. That's a dangerous, dangerous mindset. And so I'm encouraging people to really step outside of that mindset and into a mindset that is more sustainable, which is separate togetherness. A lot of people nowadays, I see partners, they're starting to have their own apartments. They're starting to keep their own place. So that way the mystery can stay alive. You know, it's all about keeping that mystery, you know, that seduction alive. And so they have their own places so that way they can come to the table fresh and renewed. Some couples have separate beds, you know, or even separate bedrooms. You know, they have separate bedrooms that they go into so that way they can still be fresh for one another. Because we all know, you know, that old adage, familiarity breeds contempt. And so it's so crucial that we just connect with ourselves. Find ourselves, you know? I find it interesting that our bodies go through a rejuvenation period. You know, our cells are constantly being upgraded and we're constantly shedding old skins. And yet and still we want our partners to stay the same. We want our partners to just be static, not move, you know? But people change, and we have to welcome those changes with empathy, understanding, love, support. And at the same time, we have to always make sure that we're keeping our own lives. I think so many women back in the day, they lost their identities to their families. You know, back in the 50s, the homemaker was usually the woman, and she stayed home and made her family her everything. And then when she grew up and the children grew up and she had an empty nest, she didn't know what to do with herself because she was so used to putting her own needs on the back burner. She was so used to making her family the center of her world that when they moved on, she was just shipwrecked. I don't think that's a way to live. I think that as you love on other people, you also have to remember the love you have for yourself. You must remember the love you have for yourself and what you need. And so that's really crucial. So I hope that this concept of separate togetherness is definitely beneficial. I hope that you can employ it in your relationships, in your friendships, in every aspect of your life, because I think when you think like this and you basically have this adventurous spirit, a loyal spirit, but at the same time, an adventurous spirit, I think that marrying those two concepts will definitely help just renew the zeal and the love and the motivation to be in relationships again. So I hope that this video was informative and helpful, and I hope that you take these tools and definitely just grow. So I wish everybody a wonderful 2022. It's getting a little chilly out there. This is why I have the hoodie on. So I hope that everybody enjoys the rest of the year and continue loving both self and other people. Peace, y'all.